What time is it? I think we all know what time it is, and I think we all know what day it is. It's Saturday! You know what that means? We're live! Ladies and gentlemen, I'm the one and only D, a J, Storms, and I would like to welcome each and every single one of you back here to the channel on YouTube.com. As of course, you already know who I am, Mr. Controversy, and the operator of the best damn Twitter handle, Wait for it! Wait for it! Do you smell that? Do you smell that? Do you know what that is? That right there is the smell of excellence to mankind. And this is the official Lightning Flash update for Saturday, April 30th, 2022. Holy shit, the chat is rocking. It is rolling. 13 people in here already. Let us check the chat. We got Kevin Viola. We got Peanuts. We got Hooligrim. We got Lisa. We got Matthew, Moody, Adam, Carl. Holy shit. We are rock and rolling day in and day out. This is what the DJ Storms brand is all about, motherfuckers. And trust me, I am super happy we got a lot of people in here because, oh my God, I got some rants for you. We are going to tear Becky Lynch a new asshole, 2 new assholes and a new vagina today because she is a fucking bimbo right down to the very last letter. But that right there is later on. Of course, Dee Dee is here, my number one mod. I'm pretty sure we're going to see Earl Cole down the line as well. We have a lot to get into today, and I greatly appreciate every single one of you joining me here. Let us try and reach a goal of 30 likes. That's what I want. 30 likes. That is the goal for today's LFU. The shooter's also here. Gotta calm down a little bit. It was a big intro. I gotta take a few deep breaths in and out. But we're not just going to be ripping apart Becky Lynch. We're going to be talking about WWE. Apparently, Vince McMahon feels some talent is being miscast. Really, some talent's being miscast. We'll talk about that. We're going to talk about what the likely outcome of the Ronda Rousey Charlotte Flair match is going to be. And we're going to talk about the recent batch of NXT releases and why did WWE bring back Mustafa Ali? We're going to talk about that as well. But first things first. As always, if you haven't already done so, please make sure you follow me on social media. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at real_DJ_storms. That is real_DJ_storms on both Twitter and Instagram. We already got 10 likes. I like it a lot. So here's what I need y'all to do. After you follow me on social media, add me on Facebook for collaborations and business inquiries. Please send me an email. My email is, of course, StormsTakeOver@gmail.com. Be sure that you like the official DJ Storms business page, and I may just send you an invite to join the official DJ Storms posse group on Facebook. That is. All of those links are in the description. Also, a link that I will place in the description after the stream is over is the link to Earl Cole's wrestling experience. The wrestling experience with Earl Cole, usually on the weekdays. Him and I, along with Christina Diva, we reviewed what was a great episode of AEW Dynamite this past Wednesday. So I will not be talking about Dynamite. I will be talking about Rampage, but I already reviewed Dynamite with Earl Cole and Christina Diva. We will be back in action together, hopefully very, very soon. I always appreciate when I get to work with Earl. Earl is my day one A1, and Christina Diva, she is a sweetheart in her own right. So I will place the link to Earl Cole's wrestling experience with me and Christina after the stream is over. That link will be down below if you haven't already seen it. So I will not be talking about Dynamite, but next week I will be back to the normal schedule talking about Dynamite. Please make sure if you haven't already done so, that you hit the like button when you come on in. Hit the like button when you come on in and share the stream out on all platforms, social media, whatever social media platform that you may have. Bring everyone in here. Bring your mothers, your fathers, your sons, your daughters, friends and family, everyone. I want them all in here. Share it out on all social media platforms, whether it be Twitter, Instagram, Pinterest, Tumblr, Snapchat, TikTok, whatever social media platforms that you use. I don't know why I said TikTok like I did right there. Either way, I am excited. I am hyped. Share the stream out on all platforms, social media. Get as many people in here as possible. And when you do so, more and more people will join. More and more people are going to like. More and more people are going to share. And everybody will know DJ Storms is live on YouTube. And we ripping Becky, Lynch, a new asshole, 2 new assholes, and a new vagina. We got a lot to discuss. But before that, please make sure that you hit the subscribe button and hit that notifications bell with a huge coup de grace. That way, you will know whenever I pop up on YouTube. Because whenever I pop up on YouTube, baby, it is the best time to be on YouTube. Because it's the only time you won't get to see this glorious sideburn chin strap combo and this beautiful mustache right here. I did touch it up before I came on. So before we get into what we got to get into, we are going to light it up with Earl Cole's favorite part of the stream. He's not here yet. I'm sure we're going to see him in here at some point. But we're going to light it up right here with a little and a dash of and a whole lot of Just like Campbell's soup, I'm so good. Because everybody wants a piece of the Storms Meister. Everybody does. I know Hologram's hyped for the magic comb that I got going on over here. Who else combs their mustache, their sideburns, and their beard to be as pristine and precise as I do? Nobody. Anyway. Enough of the soap brand promotion and the advertisements. We are going to get straight into the festivities here. We're going to start off with the news, rumors, and reports. Dylan Catcham just joined. I appreciate him coming on in. If you haven't already done so, look at this. We got 14 likes. Holy shit. That's got to be a fun. We're not even 10 minutes into the stream. Let's get some more people in here. We are rocking and fucking rolling. And Hologram, yes, this is a G-Shock because I got fucking style. That's why. I got fucking style. Anyway. Adam Carl, you're right. That is Backlash 2016 playing in the background. Now then. Let's talk about the news, rumors, and reports. Let's start off small. We're going to start off small and then gradually pick up. My first report, let's talk about this report from PW Insider. A new survey from WWE was sent out to fans that are obviously subscribed to WWE via email. They went ahead and sent out this survey, and they were actually asking some rather interesting questions. In addition to the normal questions about the viewing habits and which shows fans prefer to watch, WWE offered a few other questions. Fans were actually asked if they had any interest in NFTs, behind the scenes looks at how WWE operates, and most interestingly, a wrestler ranking system. And that has begun the speculation that WWE could very well be considering a ranking system for their product. Now, I find that hilarious, considering that WWE needs to be different from everyone else. They don't want to be looked at as a follower. They need to be the leader in sports entertainment, the leader in professional wrestling, even though we're not a professional wrestling company. We're not doing a wrestler ranking system, but wins and losses don't matter. I find it funny how they constantly try and do everything they can to invalidate AEW, yet they're possibly considering a tactic that AEW is doing right now. But yet they're not competition, yet you're attempting to take ideas from them. Quite fucking pathetic. However, as pathetic as it may be, this is actually, if it comes to fruition, which I don't believe it will, but if it does, this is actually a great thing. All the fans want, the smart fans like me, the intelligent fans like me, all we want is for WWE to actually make sense of things. All we want is for WWE to actually put some effort into their programming and not make things happen out of thin air. We don't want a championship match to come about one week and we have no explanation of how we got it. AEW does a great job at explaining that, and one of the reasons in which they do so is through the wrestler ranking system. Why are Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs in line to potentially get an AEW World Tag Team title opportunity against Jurassic Express? It's because they're number 3 in the rankings. They've been winning matches. That right there is a great thing. So if WWE institutes a ranking system, I'm not going to overly complain about that. I may call them out for copying AEW, but at the end of the day, I would actually be somewhat happy if they do this, because this is actually one of the steps that would actually make them feel more sports-oriented, and it would make them feel more mature. It would make the WWE product feel different. WWE desperately needs an overhaul. WWE desperately needs something to make them stand out and make them seem interesting. And right now, they have absolutely fucking nothing. If WWE institutes a ranking system, this could be step 1 in making the people around them feel more important. That way, you can get people on television competing, winning matches. Champions won't have to take unnecessary pinfall losses in non-title matches, and it would make sense if someone like a Tommaso Ciampa, who right now is currently undefeated on the main roster. Ciampa's 5-0 on the main roster in his 5 main roster appearances. Do they acknowledge that? No, of course not, because wins and losses don't matter. But if they institute a ranking system, Ciampa's on a 5-match winning streak. He gains his 6th win, his 7th win, his 8th win, his 9th win, and then he gets a United States title opportunity. That right there would make perfect sense. That right there would be brilliant. He's presented in a light in which he is winning matches. That right there is perfect. Who cares if it's predetermined? Who cares if it's a scripted sport? This is a sport at the end of the day. It is to be treated as such. The ranking system for AEW is a great thing. You take a look at what they're doing with Thunder Rosa. Nyla Rose was number 1 in the rankings. She got a title opportunity. Serena Deeb now is number 1 in the rankings. She's been on an 8-match winning streak. Now she's Thunder Rosa's next opponent. This is a brilliant thing. Now, do I expect WWE to do this? No, because they don't want to be looked at as a follower in the lead of sports entertainment or the lead of professional wrestling, which right now is led by AEW. They don't want to be looked at as a follower. Simple. But if this is a thing, and I find it very interesting that they're asking the fans about this, if this is a legitimate thing, this right here would be great. This is a great thing if WWE institutes it. Do I expect them to? No. No, I don't. But I would love to see a ranking system instituted. It would make everyone else around them feel more important. The champions will feel special, and people getting title opportunities, it would actually make sense instead of just gifting them to them out of thin air or because someone beat the champion in a non-title match. So that's that. That's that. Moving on to the next report over here, we got Vince McMahon feeling that some talent are being miscast right now. This is according to WrestlingNews.co. The site stated, and I quote, "This is the last example of plans suddenly changing in WWE. WrestlingNews.co was told that fans should expect more turns for several stars in the coming weeks as Vince feels that some of the talent is being miscast right now." If you have been paying attention, we've seen Raquel Gonzalez go from a badass to a smiling, cringy babyface. We saw Ciampa turn heel on Ali. Ali was originally a heel, and he was on SmackDown. He turned babyface. Xia Li was initially a babyface. She turned heel. There's a lot of face and heel turns going back and forth right now. Damian Priest, he went from being a babyface to being a heel. The thing that pisses me off about it is it took Vince this long to realize something so fucking simple. Some of the rosters being miscast. Every single member on that roster, minus Roman Reigns, RK Bro, and Austin Theory, and then maybe Edge. Outside of those individuals, everyone on that fucking roster is being miscast. If anything, all this did is showcase to everyone that Vince McMahon needs to go. If it took Vince McMahon this long to recognize something so simple as the people on his television show are currently being miscast, not only are they being miscast, but they're being mishandled, they're being mistreated, every negative word in the dictionary that you could possibly conjure up. It took Vince McMahon this long to realize something that's been right under his nose, something that's been right in front of his face. If anything, this goes to show you that Vince McMahon does not know what the fuck he is doing. He doesn't know what the fuck he's doing. He doesn't know what the fuck he wants to do. It's a terrible, terrible, terrible mentality to have. How Vince McMahon thinks everything is fine. Yeah, it was actually reported that Vince thought everything was fine right from the get-go. I don't understand. Now Vince McMahon thinks everything is fine, but now he thinks that some people in the roster are being miscast. His show sucks. His show is progressively getting worse in every sense of the word every week, and it took him this long to realize, some wrestlers are being miscast. You know what? I'm happy that Mustafa Ali is a babyface now. He actually plays a great babyface. Ciampa, he plays a better heel. Do we see Kevin Owens go babyface? I would actually love to see Kevin Owens go babyface. Kevin Owens would favor much better as a heel. Not a heel, a babyface rather than a heel. Because right now, there's just an overabundance of heels. Where are your top babyfaces? There's none. Also, AEW Superman, I don't know what the hell you are saying right now. You're getting on my nerves. Punk versus Paige is terrible. They've done a great booking job with Paige. Didi, do your thing. Get AEW Superman out of the fucking chat. Get this fucking retard out of the chat. Get him out. Get him out. Get him out. Moving on, after the whole Vince McMahon hullabaloo, I stumbled upon this report from Dave Meltzer. Dave Meltzer, he discussed that Ronda Rousey will likely be the new SmackDown Women's Champion at WrestleMania Backlash. And the reason that he gave is because he can't see Ronda Rousey losing an I Quit match. And to be quite honest with you, that's actually a very, very, very good reason. There's a reason why they made this I Quit match. It's because Ronda Rousey is set to win. They didn't bring back Ronda Rousey to not give her the championship. Absolutely fucking not. They didn't. if Ronda Rousey was being brought back, then at the end of the fucking day, she's going to win the championship. There's no way that you're going to bring Ronda Rousey back and she does nothing. It's fucking stupid. Ronda Rousey was brought back. It's because they are giving her the championship simply to try and see if they could spark up some interest. WWE is desperate right now. They have absolutely nothing going for them. And right now, they think that if they put the title on Ronda, that's somehow magically going to make people interested in whatever WWE has going on with their women's division. I'm sorry, it doesn't work like that. Ronda Rousey's value is absolutely worthless, especially with the work that she's been doing right now. Her match with Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania was perhaps the worst match of the entire WrestleMania weekend, minus Bobby Lashley and Omos. So I don't understand how anyone would even think about tuning into WWE simply to see what Ronda Rousey is doing. Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair, this has been one of the worst women's feuds in the entire history of WWE's modern-day women's division. Ever since they retired the Divas Championship, this has been the worst program out of anyone in the current WWE women's division that we have seen. The show sucks. The show absolutely fucking sucks. And Ronda Rousey contributes to the show sucking. But as far as the side quit match goes, I can't see Ronda Rousey losing. They're not gonna bring back Ronda to lose to Charlotte Flair twice. They brought back Ronda to appease Charlotte, and now they're going to get a second match out of this with Ronda Rousey winning the championship because she's Ronda Rousey. She's Ronda Rousey, and they think that magically the ratings are going to go up and people are going to be more interested because Ronda is the champion. If anything, people are going to become disinterested in whatever Ronda Rousey's doing and whatever WWE's doing with Ronda Rousey at the forefront of the women's division again. They did nothing to capitalize on Ronda Rousey and the hype and the legitimacy that she brought to the women's division the first time around. And to be quite honest with you, it ain't going to happen a second time. Ronda Rousey is completely valueless. Completely fucking valueless. But based on what Dave Meltzer said here, you honestly think Ronda Rousey's losing? If Ronda loses, I'd be dead shocked. I got a report from PW Insider regarding AEW. AEW pulled select talent from select indie shows to accommodate a scheduling conflict. Now, apparently, AEW moved the previous set of AEW Dark tapings, which air on YouTube on Tuesdays at 7 p.m. They are filmed in Universal Studios down in Orlando, Florida. They moved those tapings from April 30th to May 1st. Talent that were planning on wrestling elsewhere, such as PWG/BLP on May 1st, were held off so they could be available for the AEW Dark tapings down in Orlando, Florida. This shit is going to happen. It's not a big deal. I don't understand why people are actually making a big deal out of this. Sometimes the schedule changes. That is the lifestyle of a professional wrestler. Unfortunately, things aren't going to go as smooth as we expect them to. We try and plan and make sure that everything goes as smooth as it could possibly go, but at the end of the day, something may happen. There was probably some backstage conflict. There was probably something going on with Universal Studios. Maybe they weren't available on the 30th. They had to tell Tony Khan, and Tony Khan had to move it to the next day. So the AEW Dark tapings will take place tomorrow. I don't know when. I'm guessing sometime in the afternoon. But at the end of it all, shit like this is going to happen. It's really not that big of a deal. People are going to end up changing the schedule, especially with a big company like AEW, and how much connections that they have, how many connections that they have unfortunately, something is not going to go to plan and they have to move the schedule around. Shit like that happens. It's not a big deal. They pulled wrestlers from the indies for one day. It is not anything to throw a fit over. Because at the end of the day, unlike WWE, Tony Khan actually allows his wrestlers to work the independent scene. All because he pulled them for one day, that doesn't mean that we need to throw a fit and start cursing Tony Khan to the high heavens. Or cursing him to the fucking devil, whatever you want to say. At the end of the day, they're AEW employees first. Those obligations are to be filled first. Tony Khan had to move the tapings. Who cares? It's not a big deal. I got a report from WrestleVotes regarding Austin Theory. Austin Theory and his push. WrestleVotes provided an update on the push currently going on for one Austin Theory. They stated in a tweet this week, and I quote, "Now that his push is in full effect, source states he anticipates bigger and bigger things for Theory. A person with direct knowledge states Vince sees a young John Cena in Theory and will give the kid everything he needs to be successful." End quote. Now, Austin Theory is a phenomenal in-ring performer. Austin Theory has all the tools that you need in order for success in the WWE. I don't know why he's hated. Maybe people are just fucking retarded, kind of like Becky Lynch is. And trust me, we'll get into Becky Lynch because I got a lot of shit to say about that. But at the end of the day, Austin Theory is a guy that should be a face of the company type guy. That's how good Austin Theory really is. The problem here is in direct correlation with what we have with Roman Reigns. When WWE has their next top guy and they have their hand-selected picked guy who's going to carry the company into the next 10, 15, 20 years, they put all their effort into him while neglecting everyone else. And that shit right there should not be the case with Theory, because your top guy is only as good as everyone else below him. Everyone else makes everyone else better. You're not going to have Austin Theory be this guy unless you have people that are going to help enhance him and vice versa. Roman Reigns has even fell off the rails because Roman Reigns legitimately has no other competition outside of Drew McIntyre and Cody Rhodes. If you want to include The Rock, you can include The Rock, but at the end of the day, Roman Reigns has no competition left. Once he beats McIntyre, he needs to lose it to Cody. It's either he beats McIntyre and he beats Cody, then he goes to beat The Rock, and then no one's going to beat him. And that, we can't have that. Because Roman's inevitably going to go to Hollywood sooner rather than later. And you can't have him just relinquish the championship. That shit right there is a big waste opportunity. You have a big time opportunity to make a new star by having them beat Roman Reigns. You need to choose the right individual. But Roman Reigns has fell off the rails because they've legitimately fed everyone to him. And this is exactly what happens when you put all your effort into one guy, you build up Roman Reigns as this unstoppable monster, you have him feud for 8 months with Brock Lesnar, and you don't build anyone else to take him on. I don't want that to happen with Theory, because if that happens with Theory, then Austin Theory is going to start suffering from this vibe of him getting stale, because there's no one left to face him. Who does he have on Monday Night Raw outside of Mustafa Ali? And we're going to talk about Ali because what's going on with Theory, it's in direct correlation with what's going on with Mustafa Ali and why they brought him back. And we're going to talk about that a little bit later on. But Austin Theory right now, they cannot, and I'm telling you, they cannot do the same thing with Theory that they're doing with Roman. They cannot put all their effort into him and neglect everyone else. Will they do that? I'm 1,000% sure they will, because that's what WWE does. They don't know what the fuck they are doing. But Austin Theory, listen, I am happy that he's getting pushed because Austin Theory deserves it. Austin Theory is a face of the company type guy, and he should be in the exact same spot as Roman Reigns is in due time. I'll tell you what else I'm happy about. I'll tell you what else I'm happy about. Two stars from Impact Wrestling actually announced that they were stepping away from the pro wrestling realm. It was reported by WrestlingNews.co, first and foremost, that Jessica McKay and Cassie Lee, collectively known as The Inspiration, formerly known as the Iconics in WWE, they are stepping away from the pro wrestling realm, and the duo later confirmed it with official statements on social media. I certainly do not give a fuck, and I'll tell you why. The Inspiration, the Iconics, are two of the worst professional wrestlers of the modern era. They would have fit back in the Divas era, all the way back in 2007, 2008. That's where they would have fit into. The Iconics, I don't understand how the Iconics had so many fans. Maybe it's because people support mediocrity because they're mediocre themselves, and they thought that, hey, if these two bimbos could make it, maybe I can make it too. I'm sorry, it doesn't work that way. Whoever trained these two and gave them a passing grade from professional wrestling school should have all of their wrestling teaching abilities revoked. From here on out, they should all be revoked. These two women legitimately added nothing but annoyance and cringe segments, horrific wrestling. Their timing was off. Their offense was sloppy. Their offense was weak. There was no impact. They had legitimately no impact on professional wrestling whatsoever outside of giving a couple of talentless hacks in the IWC hope that they could possibly make it. These two women were detriments to women's wrestling and professional wrestling altogether. They single-handedly killed the Women's Tag Team Championships. The Women's Tag Team Championships haven't felt important since Sasha Banks and Bayley lost them for the first time back at WrestleMania. Every single team that has held the Women's Tag Team titles since then, the Women's Tag Team titles have been proven utterly meaningless. Utterly meaningless. And you know why? Because there's no division. WWE never showed it any care. Nothing regarding the Women's Tag Team titles has felt important. And it all started with the Iconics winning it. And they actually made Impact Wrestling and their women's division worse. They were in the worst match possible at Rebellion. I watched Rebellion. It was a very good show. If there was one match that absolutely sucked dick, it was the Inspiration versus the Influence. And that is not on the Influence, that's on the Inspiration, because they are just flat out atrocious. I wish them luck. I wish them luck in their time after professional wrestling. And there's no doubt that they will succeed because they are two beautiful women, but they're not going to succeed in the realm of sports at all. You know where they will succeed? The modeling realm. That's where they will succeed. They are models. They are not professional wrestlers. They are not athletes. They will succeed in the modeling area. I certainly will not be shedding one single tear at the Iconics stepping away from the realm of professional wrestling. Matter of fact, Impact's women's division just became 10 times better because they're leaving the Iconics. The Inspiration, they're gone. They're absolutely gone. Goodbye. You will not be missed. Just like Mick Foley threatening to leave because Elon Musk brought Twitter. Goodbye, Mick. You won't be missed either. You're a fucking idiot. Goodbye, Iconics. I will not miss you at all. Now, this shit pissed me off, but not as much as what happened with Becky. And I'm not going to waste all my energy on this report because I do have a lot of shit I want to say about Becky Lynch and how fucking stupid she came off. Sean Ross Sapp, but first things first, Sean Ross Sapp, he reported a slew of WWE NXT Superstars were released on Friday afternoon. I looked at my phone just as I was getting out of work yesterday, and I found out that 10 people were released. According to Sean Ross Sapp, the releases are as follows. Raylan Devine, Vish Kanya, Mila Milani, Blair Baldwin, Persia Parada, Draco Anthony, Malcolm Bivens, Harland, Parker Bordeaux, Dakota Kai, and Dexter Loomis. Now, first things first, I don't know who half of these individuals are. I have no idea who the first 4 individuals are. The other ones, I know who they were. But I am not surprised by this at all. Matter of fact, I expected that. I expected this coming from a mile away. Matter of fact, I don't think this is done. I see more releases coming potentially today. For all we know, releases could happen as I'm streaming live right now. I don't want them to happen, but I expected this to happen. I never wanted anyone to lose their jobs, but it's very, very hard for me not to predict it based on what's going on WWE television on a weekly basis. And it goes to show you that WWE doesn't give a single fuck. I had no idea who Raylan Devine is, no idea who Vish Kanya is, no idea who Mila Milani is or Blair Baldwin, but I'm guessing that those 4 women were actually scheduled to be in the NXT Women's Breakout Tournament that's starting up very soon. I'm going to lump these individuals in with Persia Pirotta and Draco Anthony. And I say that because Persia Pirotta and Draco Anthony, they were featured on NXT television for a decent amount of time. Now, they were not exactly lighting the world on fire over there. They were not exactly fantastic professional wrestlers. I don't think anyone's going to come out and say, oh yeah, Draco Anthony's a fantastic pro wrestler or Persia Pirotta's a fantastic pro wrestler. But there was potential there. I'm not saying that they're going to go on to be WrestleMania main eventers, but at the end of the day, if Persia Pirotta was actually given another year or 2 in the PC to actually train, then Persia Pirotta could have been a solid act in the women's division. Same thing with Draco Anthony. Draco Anthony, he's not going to be a world champion, but you give him some time, he could have been a solid U.S. champion, a solid intercontinental champion, maybe pair him in a tag team. Who knows? There was potential there. Just because they're not showing potential in the first 6 months of you signing them doesn't mean that you should release them. Plus, the other 4 didn't even get an opportunity. Harland very much shocks me as well. With every single connection that he had, and so many people were coming out saying that he had all of these people on speed dial and how he looked like an individual that Vince McMahon would invest everything in. How many comparisons did he get to Brock Lesnar? People were calling him Mini Lesnar. And they actually released him because they didn't see any progression of his in the ring. How do you tell? How can you tell within 6 months? And this goes to show you how shitty their hiring process is. They're relying on these college athletes that failed in lacrosse or baseball or soccer, hockey, cheerleading, football, amateur wrestling. They're relying on all of these college athletes, and they're bringing them in, and it's almost like if they don't become WrestleMania main eventers within 6 months, they're going to fire them. That is a shit mentality to have in business. That is perhaps one of the worst mentalities that WWE has ever adopted. May even be the worst mentality, period, that WWE has ever adopted. You can't set that high of a standard for these individuals in such short amount of time. It is virtually impossible. If you're going to keep this mentality up, 99% of the people that you bring in are going to fail. Who on NXT is going to be a major hand on the main roster when it's all said and done? 5 people I can see. Solo Sikoa, Carmelo Hayes, Grayson Waller, Tony D'Angelo, and Braun Breaker. Outside of that, there is nobody on NXT that they're going to bring in from college amateur wrestling or college sports, college cheerleading. There is no athlete that they're going to bring in that's going to have a major impact. None. Because you're setting a standard for them. You're setting a goal for them that's legitimately impossible for them to reach. No one is going to become a WrestleMania main eventer within 6 months. How would it look if AEW had Britt Baker and Jade Cargill? Britt Baker and Jade Cargill, they came in, they were not very good. They were not very good at all when they first came in. How would it look if AEW, they released Jade Cargill and Britt Baker knowing what they became today? How would it look if they released those 2 women knowing what they became today and they passed on 2 stars that could have been made? Britt Baker is one of the best in the industry right now. Jade Cargill, she has improved immensely since becoming the TNT champion. Look at her improvement within the last 4 months. How would it look if AEW released those two women before they became big stars? Now, I'm not saying that's going to be the case with everyone, but how would you know if you don't take the risk? How would you know if you don't try? How would you know if you have no patience? How would you know if you set this impossible standard for them and they don't live up to it and you release them? Are you really that delusional? Are you really that impatient? You're essentially asking them to do godlike things. Meanwhile, you haven't trained them for shit. Harland and Joe Gacy were actually becoming the best act in NXT. On a show that's largely shit, they were becoming the best act on WWE television, and you just let him go. They could have been a solid tag team. They could have been a tag team champions, winners of the Dusty Rhodes Tag Team Classic. Now, Joe Gacy's character has weakened without Harland, without Parker Bordeaux. Joe Gacy's character is now on the weaker side. I don't see Joe Gacy going anywhere with this character. The three that stick out to me is Malcolm Bivens, Dakota Kai, and Dexter Loomis. Malcolm Bivens and Dakota Kai, they actually chose not to resign, and they didn't want to resign. And you know what? I have no issue with that. And you know why? It's because they knew where they were headed. They knew the direction of the WWE product is absolute shit. They knew that they were not valued in this era of WWE programming. They knew that they were not going anywhere. They knew that they were not going to do jack shit. WWE didn't even see Dakota Kai as main roster material, yet they have Tamina and Dana Brooke still employed on the main roster. Yet Alexa Bliss has been given the world, and she's a talentless fucking hack. Really, but Dakota Kai's not main roster material. Again, that just goes to show you that WWE does not know what the fuck they are doing. Dakota Kai could have been a great hand. And what happened? We'll treat women's wrestling like shit. We'll make Dakota Kai miserable, so much so that she doesn't want to resign. And then just out of pettiness, we'll fire her. And you know why Dakota Kai was fired? It's because she was directly associated with Triple H. Some of these, about 2 or 3 of these, were signings directly associated with Triple H, and that's why they fired them. Dakota Kai and Dexter Loomis were the top 2. Dexter Loomis had everything that you wanted in a pro wrestler. And what did you do? You made him into an MTV ripoff act, making out with Indy Hartwell while Persia Pirotta, another woman who should have stayed in the PC and trained and actually gotten better, while Persia Pirotta made out with Duke Hudson, Indy Hartwell made out with Dexter Loomis. It was fucking atrocious. Atrocious. How is this good business? I don't understand how anyone believes that this is good business. WWE's roster continues to get thinner and thinner and thinner. Pretty soon, you will have nobody left to push. That's why they're pushing Ricochet, because there's legitimately nobody else. They have nobody else. That's why Ricochet is the Intercontinental Champion. Who else besides Sheamus is good enough to be the Intercontinental Champion over there? Can't give it to Drew because Drew's going to fight Roman Reigns. At the end of the fucking day, WWE continues to shoot themselves in the foot. WWE continues to shoot themselves in the foot week after week with the horrendous creative writing and all of these releases. Yes, they'll all be fine. They'll find work, but that's not the point I'm trying to make. My point is I want the WWE product to get better. They're not going to get better by releasing talent that could have been something in due time. They're not going to get better with their current business tactics. Matter of fact, they've gotten worse year over year over year ever since CM Punk left. Punk was the first domino, and ever since CM Punk walked out, the WWE product has gotten worse and worse and worse and worse. And it goes to show you the impact that CM Punk had. He was the start, and everything else followed. It's quite fucking pathetic. Top 2, Dakota Kai and Dexter Loomis, direct middle fingers at Triple H, and it will not stop. It will not stop until everything Everything Triple H is completely eradicated, never to be seen again. They are doing everything in their power to make sure Triple H is embarrassed. And Triple H knows that he was in the wrong when we all know he wasn't in the wrong. We all know Vince was in the wrong and Triple H was in the right. At least the people with a functioning brain know that. Every single time we have these releases, WWE gets weaker and weaker and weaker. They get weaker and weaker, and everyone else around them continues to get stronger. Pretty soon, the viewers are going to go down even more. The wrestlers that want to sign with you, their trust is going out the window. The wrestlers that want to sign with you, people that want to sign with you in general. Because if some of these who are college athletes, some of these that fit Vince McMahon standards, you honestly think that these college athletes aren't going to catch on with what you're doing? You honestly think these college athletes are not going to catch on to everything that's going on and how the majority of these individuals, minus Dakota Kai, Malcolm Bivens, and Dexter Loomis, were your hires? You honestly think that people are not going to catch on to the fact that you are firing the people that you went after and you sought after, thus proving that your college system is a failure. Your NIL program is a failure. Less and less people are going to want to sign with you. Less and less people are going to watch your show. And your roster is going to get thinner and thinner and thinner. You, essentially, are the architect of your own defeat. And the fact that WWE hasn't realized this, it just goes to show you how delusional the people that run this company really are. All of the individuals that got released will be fine. They'll find work. But at the end of the fucking day, it just goes to show you that WWE refuses to get better. And that is why I shit on them. I mentioned having a functioning brain. You know who doesn't have a functioning brain? Becky Lynch. Becky Lynch. Or as I like to call her for this episode of the LFU, Bimbo Lynch. Oh, I'm going to have a field day with this one. I have been waiting all week to talk about this. I have been waiting all week to talk about this. Strap in, people. Strap in. Becky Lynch, she pulled a Seth Rollins this past week. Seth Rollins has actually been scaling back a lot. Maybe Becky Lynch should take advice from her husband, Seth Rollins. Seth Rollins has actually scaled back, and he's actually trying to remain silent when it comes to interviews. Becky Lynch pulled a Seth Rollins this past week on what I believe was a podcast. Now, I've never heard of this podcast, but supposedly this source that she interviewed with was called Featured Cut of the Day. And during this interview, whether it be a podcast or a sit-down interview, an article that was written, I don't know, she idiotically bashed the AEW women's division. She said, and I quote, "I don't think they are represented the way we are. They don't get as much time as we get, and frankly, they're not as good as we are." End quote. I don't even know where to start. There's so many things that I want to get off my chest here, but I don't even know where to start. Let's start with they don't get as much time as we get. They don't get as much time. The AEW women don't get as much time as the WWE women. Bullshit. Bullshit. You want examples? I'll give you an example from 24 hours ago, less than 24 hours ago. How many women's matches did we see on SmackDown? We saw 4. Every single one of them went less than 3 minutes. There were 4 women's matches. Every single one of them went less than 3 minutes. Hikaru Shida and Serena Deeb had a Philly street fight this past Wednesday on Dynamite. That went 13 minutes. 4 women's matches on SmackDown collectively, as one, got less time than Hikaru Shida and Serena Deeb this past Wednesday on Dynamite. But the women get more time than the AEW women, says Becky Lynch, idiotically. Is that not an example enough for you? Let's go back 3 weeks ago. We had Liv Morgan versus Naomi on Monday Night Raw, which, by the way, is a 3-hour show. That's an extra hour than SmackDown. How long did that match go? 2 minutes. But Becky Lynch, well, you know that the AEW women don't get as much time as the WWE women do. 2 minutes, Liv Morgan and Naomi. Is that not an example enough for you? Let's go back even further. What about the fact that we've seen Tamina versus Dana Brooke almost every fucking week on Monday Night Raw? How long have those matches lasted? Those matches barely even last 90 seconds. 2.5 minutes if they're lucky on that Monday. But yet the women get more time than the AEW women. WWE women get more time, right? Is that not an example enough for you? Let's go back even further. How about the Queen's Crown Tournament? Do you remember that? Remember the Queen's Crown Tournament? How long did the matches get in that tournament right there? The majority of those matches barely lasted 3.5 minutes, except for the finals. Oh, no, the finals got 7 minutes. Wow. Such a riveting way to close out what was such a great fucking tournament, right? Wow. 7 minutes for the final, 3 minutes for every other fucking match on weekly television. But the women get more time, right? Right. I don't even know what she's trying to say. Is she talking about more time in the ring or more segments? Let's talk about that. Why don't we talk about that? More segments for WWE women. And here come these fucking idiots saying, well, you know that AEW only has about 1 women's match per week. How is that a bad thing? Well, where did this narrative come from that AEW having 1 women's match per show is a bad thing? That's actually a good thing. And you know why? It's because it makes the women on AEW's roster work. It makes them work harder and bust their ass week in and week out to prove that they deserve to be in that 1 women's match. It proves that they are worthy of taking up that 1 spot on a Dynamite or that 1 spot on a Rampage. It makes Tony Khan observe what the women are doing. It makes the women work harder. Because if you work harder and you're TV ready, then you get placed in that 1 women's match on a Dynamite or a Rampage. And it would be a job well done because you would have earned that spot. It makes women's wrestling on AEW actually feel important. It makes the women's division feel more important and more special. And on top of that, everyone is being utilized. We see a different women's match every week. 1 week we see a Ruby Soho versus a Robin Renegade. Then in the next week we see an Anna Jay versus Jade Cargill. Then we see a Chris Statlander versus a Layla Hirsch. Then a Thunder Rosa versus somebody like a Britt Baker. Then Nyla Rose versus Riho, Serena Deeb, and Shida. Britt Baker and somebody like a Riho, Jamie Hayter, and Sky Blue. We see a different women's match every week. Meanwhile, in WWE, how many women are they actually utilizing? How long before Shotzi Blackheart inevitably gets released? How many appearances has Shotzi Blackheart had on WWE television? Ever since she got called up a year ago, she's barely even made 10 appearances. But apparently, the women over there, they're treated better, right? They get more time, right? Shotzi Blackheart spent more time in fucking catering than she has on WWE television. They use the same fucking women week in and week out. All they utilize is about 5 or 6 women. Meanwhile, Tony Khan is actually utilizing everyone. Cut the fucking bullshit that 1 women's match per show is a bad thing. I'm not saying it's going to stay that way forever, because it's not. It's not going to stay that way forever. But for the time being, it makes the women's division and the women's matches feel more special because you don't know who's going to get that spot on Dynamite or on a Rampage. It's a different match every fucking week. Meanwhile, on WWE, you can predict right out of the gate what women's matches we're going to see. Oh, we're going to get another Bianca Belair versus Selena Vega match, or another Bianca Belair versus a Doudrop match. Oh, here comes SmackDown. We're going to get another segment with Charlotte Flair and Ronda Rousey. We're going to get another Beat the Clock challenge with Charlotte Flair and Aaliyah. We're going to get another segment where Charlotte Flair is embarrassing Drew Gulak. You can predict that shit. Stevie Wonder can see that shit coming from a mile away. And the guy's blind. Get more time. Really? You get more time. Yeah, I'm sure that all these women's matches combined this week for WWE television. Yeah. Well, look at Lash Legend and Nikita Lyons. Lash Legend, holy shit, she is AIDS in her own right. Lash Legend and Nikita Lyons went 5 minutes to kick off the show. Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa got 4 times the amount of that match in the main event of Dynamite. Not once, but twice. Once in a lights out unsanctioned match, and then the second time was in a steel cage match. Both of those matches went 20 minutes. 5 times as much as what happened with Lash Legend and Nikita Lyons. But the women get more time over there, right? Right, Becky? Then she says, they're not represented the way that we are. Really? Really? So you're telling me that the presentation of WWE women is better than AEW women? Really? Oh, yeah, I'm sure that 26-second loss at SummerSlam, that really presented Bianca Belair in a great light. And cut the bullshit, you fucking retards. Bianca Belair gained nothing from beating Becky Lynch. She gained nothing. She's still the same Bianca Belair that we have known for the last God knows how many years that she's been on the main roster. She's been there for 2 years, and she has stayed in the exact same position. Bianca Belair is no better after beating Becky Lynch. And you know why? It's because of WWE's shit creative. Bianca's 26-second loss, she never recovered from it. I'm sure that was a great presentation for Bianca Belair. What about the double wedding ceremony with Dana Brooke and Tamina that we saw a few weeks ago on Monday Night Raw? Really, I'm sure that's a great presentation of women's wrestling and how Akira Tozawa was fucking crawling up Tamina's dress, trying to get the pinfall to win the fucking 24/7 7-Eleven I-95 North, South, East, and West. We got tattoos on our chest championship, right? I'm pretty sure that's a great fucking presentation. What about Rhea Ripley? What about Rhea Ripley and that horrible presentation she had in her feud with Charlotte Flair? She's supposed to be a fucking metalhead, yet she's coming out with fucking crutches mocking Charlotte Flair. That feud was fucking atrocious. What about Rhea Ripley teaming with fucking Nikki Trash, winning the women's tag team titles? Yeah, I'm sure that's a great fucking presentation for Rhea Ripley, right? What about this past Tuesday? What about this past Tuesday? Wendy Chu, who wrestles in her fucking pajamas. She came out there with fucking super soakers, spraying Toxic Attraction, who, by the way, hold the NXT Women's Championship and the NXT Women's Tag Team Championships. Yeah, I'm sure that's a great presentation of your champions to have an individual that wrestles in her fucking pajamas playing middle school pranks on them. Right? It's almost as if they're not presented well at all. You stupid cunt. What a dumbass she is. My Lord. Not presented as well as the WWE woman. Holy shit. You want to talk about retardation? You look up retardation in the dictionary, you will see a picture of Becky Lynch. Jade Cargill has been presented better than legitimately every single woman employed in WWE right now. Jade Cargill has had the best presentation out of anyone in the women's industry as we speak. Jade Cargill's been presented like a fucking superstar. Yeah, I'm sure Britt Baker and how Britt Baker has been presented. I'm sure that her title reign meant nothing. I'm pretty sure that Dana Brooke chasing around the 24/7 title, making out with Reggie, when we all know that she's engaged to someone else outside of WWE. Yeah, I'm sure that right there, that's such a great fucking presentation for Dana Brooke. What about Shotzi Blackheart, a woman that should honestly be higher up on the card, losing in less than 2 minutes to Ronda Rousey last night? Yeah, I'm sure that Shotzi's presentation is so much better than Thunder Rosa's presentation, right? And the turmoil that she went through and all the blood and sweat that she spilt on that ring to get the AEW Women's Championship. Yeah, I'm sure that her presentation can't hold a fucking candle to what Tamina's presentation is, right? Absolute idiocy from Becky Lynch. And then she said, oh, they're not as good as we are. Not as good as you are. Not as good as you are. What women's matches have actually lit up the world in WWE outside of Naomi and Charlotte, Bianca and Becky, and Bianca and Sasha? That's it. Those were the only 3 matches in WWE's women's division over the course of the last year that actually had any meaning. Maybe I'll include the Hell in a Cell match with Bianca Belair and Bayley. Maybe. But outside of that, what women's matches have actually lit the world up on fire? What women's matches in WWE right now have actually felt important? What women's matches have actually been must-see on WWE television outside of those 4? Meanwhile, you take a look at AEW's women's division, you pretty much invalidated all the hard work that various women have been putting in over the course of the last year. What about Red Velvet and how far she's come? You're telling me that Red Velvet hasn't been represented well? She was a part of the only celebrity match that AEW has had. She teamed with Cody Rhodes to fight Jade Cargill and Shaq. And she main evented the first ever episode of Rampage against Britt Baker. Both matches were very good matches. Oh, you're going to tell me that they weren't good because, oh yeah, they weren't WWE. Yeah, they're sloppy. Yeah, bullshit. Bullshit. What about Chris Statlander and the match that she's had with Britt Baker and Ruby Soho and the work that Chris Statlander put in to lean down and get better, get more mobile in the ring? You're going to tell me that Chris Statlander ain't good at all? You're going to tell me that she ain't good at all? What about Thunder Rosa and the matches that she's had? Thunder Rosa on her first night put on a very good match against Hikaru Shida in front of no one at All Out 2020 during a fucking pandemic. Are you going to tell me that that shit right there meant nothing? What about her matches with Britt Baker? What about her match with fucking Jamie Hayter? What about the steel cage match? You're going to tell me that means nothing? What about her match with Serena Deeb for the NWA Women's Championship? You're going to tell me that that shit right there was nothing? What about the match that she's about to have with Serena Deeb? That shit could outdo anything that they did back during November of 2020. And you know what's even more fucked up? This is how much of a piece of shit Becky Lynch is right here. Becky Lynch is so much of a corporate piece of shit. She's saying that the women in AEW aren't as good. Meanwhile, she doesn't even realize that some of the women in AEW used to work for WWE. Ty Conti, Serena Deeb, fucking Ruby Soho. Pretty soon Athena's going to be there. Mercedes Martinez is there. Pretty soon we're going to have Deonna Purrazzo show up there. She's showing up next week. All of those women once worked in WWE. Oh, but all of a sudden they're not good anymore because they're a part of AEW now, right? All of a sudden they're not good anymore because they're a part of the opposing team. Fuck off. Fuck off. Yeah, I'm sure Dana Brooke and Tamina could put on a match that would eclipse anything that Britt Baker and Thunder Rosa did in a steel cage match a month and a half ago. Yeah, I'm sure that fucking Shotzi and Carmella could put on a great 2-minute match that would surpass anything that Hikaru Shida and Serena Deeb did this past Wednesday. And you know what's even worse? You know what's the worst part about all of this? Not only that, aside from the fact that she's blatantly denying the fact that Vince McMahon and Bruce Pritchard don't give a shit about women's wrestling, you want to know a little secret? Here's a little spoiler for you. Do you want to know why there are more segments for the women on WWE television than AEW television? Is it because Bruce Pritchard cares about women's wrestling? Is it because Vince McMahon wants women's wrestling to thrive? No, of course not. If that was the case, then Athena wouldn't have come out and said there was a 2-hour meeting in which they were teaching us how to dress like Mandy Rose in skimpy, slutty outfits. Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's a great representation of women's wrestling. A great representation of a woman that wants to go out there and fucking compete, and you're having her dress like a fucking porn star. You want to know why the women get more time in segments on WWE television? It's because there's more hours of WWE TV during the week than there is AEW TV. You got 3 hours of Raw. You got 2 hours of SmackDown. If you want to include NXT, that's another 2 hours. 7 hours versus 3 hours. 7 hours of WWE, 3 hours of AEW. Of course, by default, there's going to be more women's segments. But do you know why there's more women's segments on WWE television? Besides the fact that there's more hours of WWE TV, here's a little spoiler for you. They have to. They have to feature those women because that's all they got. What you see on Monday Night Raw and Friday Night SmackDown, minus T-Bar, Mace, Shelton Benjamin, and Cedric Alexander, minus those 4 individuals, everyone that you see on Raw and SmackDown, that's their entire roster. Their roster is as thin as a piece of paper. They have no choice but to feature them on television, both male and female, because they are obligated to fill 3 hours on Monday, 2 hours on Tuesday, and 2 hours on Friday. They are featured more because they have to. They are featured as nothing more than filler on the show because they got nobody else to fill that time. Plain and simple. If WWE cared, we would see the same presentation and the same level of intensity and competitiveness as we saw in that match with Bianca and Becky. We would see that all year round. Yeah, I'm sure you have a great presentation too, Becky. People have been comparing you to a great value Lady Gaga Schmeagle hybrid. I can picture fucking Schmeagle singing Paparazzi by Lady Gaga whenever I look at you. And you want to know what the worst part about all this is that you actually have brain-dead inbreds supporting the shit that Becky Lynch said. I have never seen so many hypocrites in my fucking life as I've seen this week on social media. Everyone wants to preach, oh yeah, we're all about empowering women. We're all about supporting women's wrestling and making sure the women are treated better. Meanwhile, you have one of the faces of the women's division in WWE right now, and Becky Lynch, blatantly undermining, trashing the AEW women's division and denying the obvious progress that they've made since year one. This ain't 2020 anymore. 2020, maybe you could have used that excuse. And I'm not saying that they're perfect, but if you're trying to tell me that there's been no progression whatsoever, you clearly aren't watching the show, and you are just pushing your agenda to push your agenda. You're a blind, delusional AEW hater, and you have absolutely no brain cells whatsoever. The AEW women's division is in a decent position. It's not great. It's not horrible. I'm saying that it's going to get better. And it has been getting better over the years. You want to know the difference between AEW and WWE when it comes to their women's division? WWE's going this way with their women's division. AEW's going this way. Give AEW 3 to 4 more years, and they're going to be on the same level as Triple H's NXT women's division from 2017 to 2019. I have never seen so many ignorant, two-faced hypocrites as I've seen in the last week, especially that one bitch, Stephanie Hypes. Holy shit. She is an absolute liability. She's a fucking detriment to the IWC. I fucking damn her and anyone that supports her. You have Becky Lynch, one of the figureheads of the women's division right now in WWE, undermining AEW and denying the obvious progress that they've made, all to be a company-wide shill. All to be a company-wide shill. It is absolutely fucking disgusting. Absolutely disgusting. If you are in support of anything that Becky Lynch said, you have absolutely no right to call yourself a fan of women's wrestling. Absolutely no right. How fucking dare you? How dare you call yourself an advocate for women's wrestling when you have a woman who realistically should be praising what AEW is doing? And let me tell you something. If you can't say anything intelligent, then don't say anything at all. Becky Lynch should learn to keep her mouth shut. What an absolute embarrassment. Becky Lynch is a fucking retard, right down to the very last letter. And if anything, Becky Lynch showed you how selfish she is and how delusional she really is. She showed you her true feelings when it comes to women's wrestling. As long as she is in a top spot, she couldn't care about anything. If this was Sasha Banks, I guarantee you she would find a way to praise them. She would go out there and she would be in support of what those women were doing. Denying all of these great matches. Britt Baker and Ty Conti, very good match. Thunder Rosa, Britt Baker, Red Velvet versus Britt Baker. We had Serena Deeb versus Hikaru Shida, Chris Statlander, Ruby Soho, Nyla Rose. All of these great matches. What about Jamie Hayter and Thunder Rosa? Jamie Hayter's been a breakout lately. Jamie Hayter and Riho. I'm not a big fan of Riho, but Riho's a very good women's wrestler if you pair her with the right talent. What a fucking ridiculous, ignorant thing to say. And Becky Lynch exposed herself, as did many of the people in the community. You have no right to fucking come after me or bash me about what I say, because unlike you, I actually want better. AEW is improving. WWE is regressing. Those are the facts. If you don't like it, I got a thick Italian dick and Sicilian balls, and you can suck and choke on both of them. Fuck Becky Lynch. Fuck Becky Lynch and anyone that supports this dumb bitch. Becky Lynch is a piece of garbage. Becky Lynch is a piece of garbage. She may even be worse than Charlotte. For once, Charlotte may be a number 2 in terms of who is the worst women in the industry right now. Becky Lynch may be number 1. Becky Lynch may be number 1. Blatant lies, a blatant narrative, and a blatant agenda being pushed. And it goes to show you how dumb fans on social media really are. They don't even have a right to call themselves fans. It goes to show you how delusional people are. Cut the shit, cut the agenda, cut the narratives, acknowledge the fucking facts. And if you deny anything that I just said right there, like I said, suck my dick, choke on my balls. I don't care. I am right, you are wrong. Those are the facts. Deal with it. Fucking incels. Fuck Becky Lynch. Mustafa Ali. He returned to WWE television this past week. He returned to Monday Night Raw. He interrupted a segment with Austin Theory and The Miz on Miz TV. He beat The Miz in about 5 minutes, and then he was attacked by Mr. Ciampa. No longer Tommaso. It's just Ciampa now. According to Fightful Select, WWE had internally discussed bringing Mustafa Ali back to television. There was a pitch made for him to actually appear on Monday Night Raw, and he indeed came back to Monday Night Raw, in which he beat The Miz after a segment with Austin Theory and The Miz, and then he was attacked by Ciampa. Listen, I'm happy that Mustafa Ali is back. I'm happy that Mustafa Ali is back, and I'm happy that he's on television. That's where he should be. He should be on television. He should be there. He should be wrestling on television every week. He should be winning matches. He should be featured on television. I'm happy he came back as a babyface because he's actually better as a babyface than he is a heel. But has anyone ever stopped to think why? Has anyone stopped to think why WWE brought back Mustafa Ali to television? Has it dawned on anyone why they did that? I want you guys to think about something. If they had plans for Ali, if they had the mindset of booking Mustafa Ali like a legitimate threat, like a legitimate superstar, then at the end of the day, he would have already been in that role. WWE was completely content with just keeping Mustafa Ali away. They brought him back to television for a very specific reason. Mustafa Ali only agreed to come back because, honestly, what can he do? What can Ali do? All he can do is either sit out there for 2 years, 2.5 years, and pull a Punk, not as long as Punk, but you're going to run the risk of people forgetting your name because Ali is no CM Punk. And then he had the other choice of actually getting on television, getting his name out there, and potentially making somewhat of an impact and then inevitably leaving WWE afterwards. He was caught between a rock and a hard place. He really had no choice. He chose to end up on Monday Night Raw, and he chose to go back to television. I'm happy he's back. But are you excited? I'm certainly not excited. You know why? Because I know what they're doing with him. I talked a little bit earlier about Austin Theory. He was placed in a program with Austin Theory, and now he's fighting Ciampa as well. If he's inevitably going to get a U.S. title match with Austin Theory, do you honestly think he's going to go anywhere against Austin Theory nonetheless? Austin Theory is going to take on the role of a mini Roman Reigns. Like I said, if someone WWE picks is in a position of power on television, they're going to remain in that position of power, and WWE is going to focus all their effort into them while neglecting everyone else. And you know what else? Roman Reigns, he has needed people to beat because he's not losing that title anytime soon, or at least he shouldn't lose the title until SummerSlam. Roman Reigns, he needs bodies to face. He needs people to smash. He needs people to pin. He needs people to defeat. Austin Theory has now fallen into that category. Look at what happened to Finn Balor. Finn Balor had everything that you need. I don't give a shit whether he's too old, whether you think he's too old, whether he's too small. Enough of this bullshit. Finn Balor should have been a multi-time world champion and a WrestleMania main eventer 4 times over already. There's no reason why Finn Balor should be in the position that he's in right now. Now, Finn Balor is nothing more than a glorified enhancement talent outside of his time on NXT. Finn Balor is a glorified enhancement talent. That's why they brought back Ali. Ali is now being placed in a feud with Ciampa. He could win or lose that, but once he gets that U.S. title match with Austin Theory, you honestly expect him to win? No, of course not. He's not there to win championships. Why did they bring back Ali? He's going to be slotted into the Finn Balor role. We are looking at Finn Balor 2.0. Ali is merely there to help enhance others. You know what Ali is going to do? The farthest Ali is going to go, he's going to get a U.S. title match with Theory, and he's going to lose, or he's going to be placed in this feud between AJ Styles and Judgment Day. Rumor is Ciampa could join Judgment Day, and if that's the case, we're going to get Ciampa, Priest, and Edge versus Styles, Balor, and Ali. That's as far as he's going to go. Outside of that, he's going to be in undercard purgatory forever. They brought him back to help get others over. And Theory is just another one that they're going to feed. They're going to have Ali get a few wins under his belt. And when the time comes, he's going to get a match with Theory and he'll lose. That's it. That's it. That's why they brought back Ali. I don't understand why anyone is excited. I'm happy for Ali that he's back on television, but he's going nowhere. We are looking at Finn Balor 2.0. Ali is going to be turned into a glorified jobber for the simple fact that they are looking to push other people. If they had value in Ali, they would have pushed him immensely by now. Those are your news, rumors, and reports. Let's check the chat for a minute. We have 18 likes. 18 likes. Holy shit. You guys have been rocking and rolling all fucking day, and I'm hoping that you enjoyed my rants. I'm hoping you enjoyed my rants. We tore Becky Lynch 2 new assholes. We talked about Mustafa Ali, and we got 3 weekly shows to go over. We're going to go over Raw, we're going to go over SmackDown, and we're going to go over Rampage. I already went over Dynamite. Dynamite review with Earl Cole and Christina Diva. I will place that link in the description after I am done with the stream. Fuck NXT and fuck NXT UK. I'll cover NXT next week. Because we got the special show next week. After that, it's done and over with. Let's check the chat. We got Earl Cole, Hula Grim, Proud Mixed Child, Lisa. We got Dee Dee, and holy shit, Raging Girl Gamer. I was waiting for you. Rage. I didn't know if you were going to show up or not. See, Raging Girl Gamer over here actually believes that soft tortillas are the way to go for tacos. Let me tell you something. That is a fucking food sin. When it comes to tacos, the soft tortillas are used for burritos. Hard shells are used for tacos. Get the fuck out of here with this soft shell bullshit. Fuck out of here. Okay, here's what we're going to do. Before we move on to the weekly show review, me and Rage had an argument last night in JD's mentions. We were talking about what type of shells to use for tacos, okay? You use hard shells or soft shells? Everyone, tell me what the verdict is. Is it soft shells or hard shells? I got hard shells. Rage has got soft. So that's 1-1. What else we got? Let me hear you. Sound off in the chat before we get to the Monday Night Raw review. Hula Grim, I knew I liked you. Soft tacos are barf face. So it's 2-2 because Dee Dee, you let me down. So Dee Dee likes soft tacos. Proud Mixed Child loves hard tacos. So we got 3-2. Hard tacos are winning right now. What else? Lisa, are you for hard tacos or are you for soft tacos? So far, hard shells are winning. Me, Hula Grim, and Proud Mixed Child. We got 3 votes. The soft shells got Dee Dee and Rage. Who is soft and who is hard? I want to hear everybody. There we go. Earl Cole, my man, coming in with the hard shells. What the fuck did I tell you? See, I knew I have the intelligent people here. I knew I got the intelligent people here. Look at this. So it's 4-3. No, 4-2 actually. 4-2. Look at Lisa. Lisa, that's 5-2. Fuck your fucking soft shells. Oh, God, Peanuts. Get out of here, Peanuts. It's 5-3. Hard shells take the victory. Yeah, that's right. Soft shells are mid. I knew I loved y'all. Hard fucking shells. We need the crunch. We got the crunch with the lettuce. We got the shredded cheese. We got the hot ground beef. But at the end of it all, when you get that crunch with the hard shell, that's what I like to see. That's what I like. Ha ha! Love it. Shooter. Here we go. Shooter right here. Look. Becky Lynch likes soft taco shells. She damn sure does. Fuck Becky Lynch. No, Hula Grim's not joining you, Rage. Here we go. Let's see what else we got here. We got, here we go, Lisa. Soft shells are mid. There we go. I love it. I love it. Hard shells take the victory, motherfucker. Anyway, now that we had that little break, let's move on to the Monday Night Raw review. See, we have fun over here. My chats are the most fun. If you ain't in this chat, I don't know what the fuck you're doing. DJ Storms' chats are the most fun chats. Anyway. Here we go. Look, just like I said, soft shells are for burritos, not for tacos. Tacos have hard tortillas. Thank you. Good night. Bye-bye. Monday Night Raw. Really nothing of note on Monday Night Raw. It was a show that was disguised with Randy Orton's 20th year anniversary celebration, an 8-man tag team match, and then a bunch of returns. Outside of that, this show was lame, boring. Wasn't bad. It wasn't overly terrible, but it was lame. It was boring. Riddle kicked off the show with certain superstars. The whole roster was surrounding the ring. We had Riddle playing a phenomenal video package for Randy Orton with voices by Motionless in White playing in the background. That was great. I think I may just have to buy that song off of iTunes. That was great. So, from there, Randy Orton, he came out, he got a big ovation. Orton said that he's not going anywhere. And he mentioned some of the legends that helped him become who he is. He mentioned Mick Foley and The Undertaker and Triple H. He said that he is having more fun than he has ever had before, and it's because of Riddle. Riddle then invited Cody out for a little legacy reunion. They embraced and they hugged and they shook hands. That was actually a great moment right there. The only thing that I hated about this segment, minus the fact that we got a lame 8-man tag. It was a fun match, but minus the fact that we got a lame 8-man tag, the only thing I didn't like about this segment was the fact that we didn't get to hear Cody and Randy Orton have some words back and forth, because that right there, that's a main event pay-per-view match at some point in time. Cody versus Orton is a main event level pay-per-view match that should take place at some point. Rollins then interrupted. He told Randy not to trust Cody and how Cody stole Rollins' spotlight. He said, Cody, not everything's about you. This is about Randy Orton's career, but 20 years is in the past. You are not the present, and neither are you, pointing at Cody. All of a sudden, Ezekiel came in. He shook Orton's hand and introduced himself. He talked about Randy's moments and how him and his brother Elias they were kids and they were watching him growing up. Owens then came out. And I love the way that Owens is presenting himself. Owens, he's making this shit with Ezekiel work. Owens coming out, calling Ezekiel a liar and screaming at him. Owens is talking like he's on fucking cocaine. The Usos then came out and they mentioned watching Orton as kids, and their favorite moment is going to be beating them at WrestleMania Backlash, because we the ones. Adam Pearce came out, and what did you think happened? We're going to have ourselves an 8-man tag team match. A holla, 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 player. Boring, lame, unexciting, uninteresting. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm awake. The segment was okay. But holy shit, it's the same shit every week. It's 6-man tag, 8-man tag. It's the same main event every fucking week. Same shit every week. Do something different. Please, I beg of you. Bianca Belair. I'm on my own against the world. I will never fall. Bianca Belair, the smiling geek of a babyface. She fought Sonya Deville for the Raw Women's Championship. This match got restarted twice. So there was 3 matches between these 2 women. We had Bianca sending Sonya over the table. Sonya lost via countout. She then restarted the match as no countouts because she said she slipped on water. Then Sonya hit Bianca with the chair. What did she do? She made it a no DQ match. Then she brought out Carmella and Queen Zelina. Boring, lame, stereotypical. We've seen this shit time and time again. She DDT'd Bianca on the chair. Bianca kicked out. Sonya was then set head first into a chair. Bianca took out Zelina and Carmella, and she hit the KOD for the win. Same shit that we've seen time and time again with Sonya. This has got to be it. This shit needs to be it. Please. This shit needs to be it. Sonya Deville should have never been an official to begin with. Sonya Deville should have been a full-time in-ring performer from the moment that she came in. We still haven't gotten a legitimate reason why she came back. We still haven't gotten a legitimate reason why she came back. Yet, she is still in this position. She's been abusing her power week in and week out, and we haven't gotten her being removed yet. This needs to end. This shit needs to end. It's done. It's over with. Just fucking end it. Please. Just end it. So, after that, we had Edge and Damian Priest. They cut another promo. He talked about ignoring the fans, and he trashed the Knoxville crowd. He trashed Mayor Kane. Don't know why Mayor Kane is getting hate. I like Kane. I like Kane as the mayor. Kane is a good mayor. He's a damn good mayor. I like Mayor Kane. So they were mocking the Memphis, Tennessee crowd. Would you like to take a ride on my big green tractor? He goes to AJ, I don't think you can hit the phenomenal forearm with only one arm. Priest then said, Finn, your guilt has been determined and your judgment day has arrived. Now, the presentation is fantastic. The magic, I feel as though ruined it. Now, if we see more of what we saw tonight, where the action speaks for itself in the ring and there's no magic, then you know what? Then if we see more of that and less magic, we don't see magic ever again. I think that these two, when they add Ciampa, it could be a great faction. It could actually bring a little bit more life to Monday Night Raw. Just do not do any of this magic bullshit that we saw. Please. But outside of that, the presentation is fantastic. I just hope that something finally clicks. I'm just hoping that something finally clicks. Sam Smothers versus Veer Mahan. He has come to Raw. Just like Lisa Marie, Lisa will be coming to see MJF. Wink, wink. So Veer Mahan just completely destroyed him. 30 seconds, cervical clutch. Veer did not stop the assault. We had a cervical clutch on the floor. He had a spine buster to Smothers on the announce table. And then he locked in the cervical clutch on the table. And Veer Mahan stood tall after yet another vicious beatdown. I'm assuming we get Rey Mysterio versus Veer Mahan at WrestleMania Backlash. But if this is all that he's going to do, then I'm telling you right now, this shit right here, this is not going to favor too well for Veer. Because this, you know what this is honestly reminding me of? Do you remember what WWE did with the Viking Raiders? The Viking Raiders for 6 months, the Viking Raiders fought nothing and nobody but fucking enhancement talents. The Viking Raiders legitimately did nothing but fight local enhancement talents week in and week out for 6 months straight before they became Raw Tag Team Champions. Is this really all that Veer is good for? But this is what you get when you release 200 people. You have to rely on enhancement matches with no story at all. Bobby Lashley versus Black Great Khali. Omos. This was an arm wrestling match. They locked up as MVP. Trash talking. Lashley and Omos did their thing. Who cares? Lashley won. It's the same shit every week. It's the same material all the time with these fucking pro wrestling arm wrestling matches. It's the same shit. Lashley won, and then Omos beat down Bobby Lashley with MVP trash talk. It's the same shit every week. We have the arm wrestling match. The babyface struggles. We have the heel teasing victory, and then all of a sudden we see the babyface make a comeback. The babyface wins the match. And then the heel attacks the babyface. It's the same shit. Babyface struggles, heel loses, the heel gets frustrated and attacks the babyface in a fit of rage. It's the same bullshit every single time with these pro wrestling, arm wrestling matches. Just fucking end it already. It's not necessary. We do not need this shit at all. We don't. Reggie and Dana Brooke. They took on Akira Tozawa and Tamina. R-Truth was the special guest referee. Tozawa won it with a diving senton. Who gives a shit? And then Truth tried to pin Dana Brooke and count his own pin. He tried to pin Dana Brooke and count his own pin. 1, 2. Dana Brooke ended up kicking out. And then Dana Brooke got the title, ran away. I trusted you, R-Truth. Terrible. Get this shit off of television. Get it done and over with. Holy shit. End the fucking misery. Speaking of misery, Bimbo Lynch. She came out looking like Cruella de Vil, Lady Gaga's version of Cruella de Vil. She looked horrible. She took the mic. She was very somber. She was fake crying. She said, I don't know who Becky Lynch is without the title. And after WrestleMania, I don't recognize myself. I've hit rock bottom. Then she started going into this delusional speech. But now, this is the beginning of a legendary Becky Lynch comeback. I am like an arrow being pulled back, shot into the heights unknown. Pew! I'll be the champion again, and I'll get back my precious. I'm your biggest fan. I'll follow you until you love me. My precious. That's what I see. I picture Schmeagol singing Lady Gaga's Paparazzi every single time I look at Becky Lynch. They should have just had Asuka come out and Becky Lynch not even say a word. Becky Lynch sucks. Oh my God, I can't even do this. I don't even know what the fuck she sucks anymore. She sucks the biggest donkey testicles that I've ever seen. If you find a donkey and you find the donkey with the biggest testicles known to donkey kind, that's what Becky Lynch sucks. She sucks mega big donkey testicles. I cannot do this shit anymore. Who fucking can? This promo was terrible. Great to see Asuka back, but this promo was terrible. Shouldn't even be on television as Becky Lynch. The match will be fine, but at the end of it all, I don't give a fuck. Finn Balor He took on Damian Priest. Damian Priest came out with Edge, and their new faction is now called Judgment Day. I like it. I would have actually preferred Omnipotence. I think the faction name Omnipotence, think about this, representing Judgment Day versus representing Omnipotence. Sounds more regal, sounds more lively, if you know what I'm talking about. That sounds better to me than Judgment Day. That's just me, of course. So after that, we had Priest hitting a Razor's Edge. He hit a Razor's Edge to Finn Balor on the apron. Coming back from commercial, Balor then with the Eye of the Hurricane. Balor with a roll-up for a 2. Balor went up to the top. He looked at Edge like a fucking idiot. Oh, hi, Edge. Oh, hi, Edge. You're about over 100 feet away from me, but I'm gonna look at you. He's got Damian Priest right there, and he's like, oh, hi, Edge. I want to look at you. Oh, you got a nice throne there, Edge. Oh my God, you're wearing all black. You got a purple spotlight. You got you're good. Looking over at Edge like a fucking retard. Priest is right there, and he's oh hey, Judgment Day. Yeah, your new faction. Your new faction is Judgment Day. So Priest takes advantage of this distraction by Finn Retard. He delivers South of Heaven in a lifting flatliner, and he wins the match. That was it. Basic, quick. No one really gave a shit. Miz TV. He introduced Austin Theory. Not just theory. What kind of theory? The behaviorist theory, the social theory, the kinetic theory, the Big Bang theory, the suck my cock theory, the go suck a gay rhino's ass theory. Theory was arrogant. Miz talked about how he was U.S. champ 12 years ago. Theory talked about growing up watching The Miz. Crowd chanted, "What?" at him. They got louder and louder. Theory then promised to be remembered as the United States champion. And all I can do this all day, he said. Miz then called every person in the locker room jealous and a parasite. You know what, Miz? Let me take a little inspiration from the Miz here. Everyone in the IWC, minus the people that support me and me myself, everyone in the IWC is a parasite. So, Mustafa Ali, he then came out, and Miz goes, "You still work here?" Theory goes, "Aren't you the guy that took his ball and went home?" Mustafa Ali goes, "Why are you out here cracking jokes? If I wanted to laugh, all I have to do is watch you wrestle." That was probably the line of the night for me. That was a great line by Ali. And he wasn't done. He then goes to Theory, and he goes, "I'm hoping that you're hosting an open challenge, and I'll be the one to answer it." Theory goes, "No." Ali goes, "Really? I thought you were supposed to be Mr. McMahon's protege. Are you all biceps and no balls?" Another great line by Ali. And I'm glad that they kind of let him off the leash a little bit. Do I expect this to remain a consistent thing? Fuck no. But it was great for what we got here. Theory then hyped up The Miz, and then The Miz, he said, "I don't have the power to make a match," but then Theory said, "I was just texting Vince. You got a match with Ali right now." Miz then goes, "I'm going to make you wish you got your walking papers." Listen, the back and forth between The Miz and Ali was great. Ali is a very good promo. this was a very decent little segment between all three of them. But at the end of the fucking day, I am not going to get excited about this for the reasons that I just named. Austin Theory is the United States champion. He's not going anywhere. At the end of this all, this is simply a scenario in which Ali is being brought back to take on the Finn Balor role, and Ali is going to be a glorified enhancement talent for the star that they are pushing in Austin Theory. Simple as that. Really nothing more to say. He beat The Miz in a decent little sprint. He won via a roll-up, and then all of a sudden, Tommaso Ciampa, who is now just going by Ciampa, he won. Ali won, and he blindsided Ali, did Ciampa. So now we're going to go into that match. Now, if that match gets added to WrestleMania Backlash, I think that's going to be a great match. It's going to be a fantastic match, but at the end of the day, I don't give a shit. Why should I give a shit? I know what the future holds. I know what the future holds. And the future is none other than Ali being a glorified enhancement talent while Austin Theory continues to succeed. Mustafa Ali is going nowhere. Sorry to tell you. Cody Rhodes, Ezekiel, RK Bro. They took on Seth Rollins, Kevin Owens, and the Usos. It was a very fun 8-man tag. Lame, but a very fun 8-man tag team match because all 8 individuals are very good. Ezekiel, here's what I will give credit to. Elias, a.k.a. Ezekiel, I got to give him credit where credit's due. He actually he did not look out of place, did Ezekiel. He actually moves around the ring a lot better than he initially did. I don't know what happened, but he's starting to show a little bit more of this, of the wrestling side of him. He was very character heavy. Now he's starting to show that he can actually wrestle. I like that. He actually looked very good in the ring here. He's been introducing some new moves. He can military, but he's deceptively strong. He's deceptively strong, and he looks great. So Ezekiel, he actually looked pretty good here. He tagged Riddle. Riddle lit up Rollins. Rollins took over with a reverse superplex. Coming back from a second commercial, Owens with a swanton bomb on Riddle for a 2. Riddle eventually got the hot tag to Orton. He lit up the Usos. We had a back suplex on the tables for Jay, Rollins, and Owens. A draping DDT to Jay, vintage Orton. We had a disaster kick and an RKO to Rollins, super kick to Rhodes by Owens, RKO to Owens, assisted RKO to Jimmy, RKO to Jay, and Randy Orton wins it with a 1, a 2, 3. A very fun match. The overall show was lame. It was boring. I didn't give a shit about it. I don't know how anyone could give a shit about it. If you want my thoughts on Dynamite, go check it out on Earl Cole's channel. I will be putting the link to the video in the description after the stream is over. So just hang on in there. But Dynamite, I will say, was a great show. Great show, lots to like. And so was Rampage. Rampage was very good in its own right. We're going to talk about Rampage in a little bit as well, which I very much enjoyed. And listen, I realize that not many people like tape shows. I prefer live over taped, but at the end of the day, the show is still very good. We get a lot of great stuff on the show. So, SmackDown, though, I can't say the same thing about SmackDown. SmackDown was horrible. Absolutely horrible. SmackDown is undoubtedly the worst show on television right now. The show started off with Sami Zayn versus Drew McIntyre. This was a steel cage match. This was an extended squashed match inside of a steel cage. Sami Zayn barely got any offense, and Drew McIntyre just ran through Sami Zayn. He just absolutely fucking destroyed Sami Zayn, and that was pretty much it. Drew Gulak was actually he was actually on ring bell duty. So now Drew Gulak's training to be a special guest timekeeper. And you know what? Hey, he's doing a decent job. But at the end of the day, what is this Drew Gulak shit leading to? All he is a proverbial punching bag for Charlotte Flair. So Drew Gulak was the special guest timekeeper. He was the timekeeper all night. Sami Zayn took over with a sunset flip powerbomb off the cage. Coming back from commercial, Zayn with a haluva kick against the cage to Drew. Sami went to escape. Drew then saved him. He grabbed him by the head and just pulled him back up by his hair. Pretty badass by Drew there. Superplex off the top. And then we had a Claymore. Drew wins 1, 2, 3. Sami Zayn is a bum. Sami Zayn is nothing more than a glorified enhancement talent. And Sami Zayn, let me tell you something. This company does not deserve the services of Sami. Sami Zayn, when was the last time Sami won a match? Sami hasn't won a match in close to 3 months. His win against Shinsuke Nakamura, that was legitimately the only win that he's had in God knows how many fucking months. Drew McIntyre wins. He remains undefeated on SmackDown, and Sami Zayn is a bum. Sami Zayn deserves better. Where's the underdog from the underground Sami Zayn? That's the Sami Zayn that we need. Not this Sami. This Sami Zayn sucks. We had crappy talk with crappy Corbin. You want to know how bad WWE television really is? WrestleMania Backlash, they are so lazy. They lack so much creative that the only fresh match on WrestleMania Backlash is Madcap Moss versus Happy Corbin. How fucking sad is that? That's pathetic. So, we had the Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal Trophy being brought out. Corbin planned on destroying it. All of a sudden, one of the people that brought out the trophy was revealed to be Moss. He had a sledgehammer, and he beat down Corbin and stood tall. And that was pretty much that. Ask me if I care. I don't. Madcap Moss, let me tell you something. Madcap Moss has potential. He really does, but he's got to get rid of this shit gimmick. This gimmick of telling jokes and wrestling in fucking suspenders and fucking dress shoes. This shit is unbearable. It really is. It not as unbearable as Becky Lynch, but it's still unbearable. Ricochet. He took on Shanky. He rolled up Shanky in 4 minutes to retain the Intercontinental title, and no one gives a shit. No one gives a shit. Why? Because Ricochet, he's been treated like shit for the last 3 years. Now you want us to care about him getting somewhat of a push. Sorry, it doesn't work that way. Ricochet hasn't felt important in God knows how long. Raquel Rodriguez, she took on Kat Cardoza, Chincona Bomb, and she won. She will go nowhere as such a stereotypical babyface. All their baby faces feel the same. I'm gonna smile. I'm gonna smile at the camera because I'm a baby face. And I'm all about the fans. My name is Raquel Rodriguez. And I'm a baby face. I work for the WWE. And Vince McMahon told me to smile. Hi, I'm Raquel Rodriguez. She will go nowhere as a baby face. We had the tag team title unification contract signing with RK Bro and the Usos, or what was supposed to be a contract signing. Orton called Jimmy a bitch. We get a brawl. Roman Reigns comes out and gives his cousins the advantage. He swarms RK Bro. He then rips up the title unification contract. And all of a sudden, then Drew McIntyre storms the ring and he takes out the bloodline. I don't understand how this is a great thing. I really don't understand how this is a great thing. Why is it that Roman Reigns is now going back on his word? How is a 6-man tag team match going to do more for the bloodline than a title unification match? Unless this shit is changed to winners take all at the show. Unless this is changed to winners take all on Monday by Adam Pearce, Because that's what should happen. It should be winners take all. Unless this shit is changed to winners take all, I do not give a single fuck about this match. Should be very good, but I don't give a shit. What is on the line here? This is a house show main event. You have a house show main event as your first pay-per-view after WrestleMania's headline match. Really? That's the way to go? You were better off doing McIntyre and Roman Reigns in a one-on-one match. You were better off you're better off having Ronda Rousey and Charlotte Flair main event the show, if that's the case. Why is this the main event? Maybe Charlotte Flair and Ronda Rousey is main eventing. Maybe they changed it because Charlotte didn't get the main event of WrestleMania with Ronda on night one. So now she's getting the main event of a WrestleMania Backlash with Ronda. Guarantee you that's why. If we see Charlotte and Ronda in the main event of WrestleMania Backlash, you know it's because Charlotte fucking politicked her way into putting herself in the main event of WrestleMania Backlash with Ronda because she didn't get it at WrestleMania. You fucking know. Fucking stupid. We need the titles to be unified immediately. And I had a feeling, you know what Dave Meltzer reported, how that match was up in the air? The title unification match was actually up in the air. Hey, he wasn't fucking bullshitting, clearly, because now it's not happening. Unless we get winners take all, this is a waste of time. Why did you waste our time for weeks thinking that we're going to get a fucking title unification match only for Roman Reigns to go back on his word, and now we're going to get a six-man tag team match that should really be saved for a fucking house show. It is fucking retarded! Retarded! And now Drew McIntyre is fighting Roman Reigns, and he's going to get a shot at Roman Reigns. Well, you know what? This is what happens when you have 8 fucking months of Roman Reigns versus Brock Lesnar, and you build up no one else. Drew McIntyre should have honestly been in the WrestleMania main event of night 2 with Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar. That should have been the main event. That should have been the main event. Now, we have no choice but to get this match now because, honest to God, it should be Cody Rhodes versus Roman Reigns in the main event of SummerSlam with Cody winning the title. So it's either Drew and Roman now or they're never going to fight for the World Championship because Cody should realistically be the one to beat Roman at SummerSlam. Plain and simple. Naomi and Sasha Banks versus Natalya and Shayna Baszler. That was confirmed. That was confirmed for the women's tag team titles. That is a match 2 weeks away. Does anyone care? Nope. I don't care. Naomi versus Shayna Baszler. This match went 2 minutes. Naomi rolled up Shayna. Shayna is a loser. And Shayna Baszler and Natalya destroy Naomi and Sasha Banks afterwards. Yeah, I'm really sure every single fucking women's match on this show went under 2 minutes. Yeah, I'm sure the women really are presented well. Yeah, they get more time, right, Becky Lynch? You fucking stupid bitch. Xavier Woods took on Ridge Holland. Again, New Day and Sheamus and Sheamus and Ridge Holland. Now, the fucking feud, get this. This fucking feud is based on Butch, a.k.a. Pete Dunne, going missing. And trust me, he's really going to go missing. He went missing. He's never coming back. You know where he's going? On the unemployment line, courtesy of Nick Khan's budget cuts. Ridge Holland and Sheamus versus the New Day. The fucking feud is based on Pete Dunne going missing and Xavier Woods beating people with a fucking roll-up. And then Sheamus, after Woods beat Ridge Holland with a fucking roll-up, Sheamus took on Kofi. Sheamus won with a bro kick, and then they powerbombed Xavier Woods through a table. And we got a tables match next week. Riveting. More Lacey Evans shit. It's not working. It's not fucking working. It's not. It's not. Unless this woman can wrestle like Bianca Belair, we should not be seeing her on television. It is not working. I wanted to give it a chance, but I can't. Ronda Rousey versus Shotzi. Yeah, Shotzi, another one that's going to be on the budget cut list. Shotzi was put in an ankle lock and she quit in 1 minute and 41 seconds. Charlotte Flair had a match with Aaliyah. She could not beat Aaliyah. Ronda Rousey walked off, and what did you think Charlotte did? She went to Gulak and she beat the shit out of Gulak for the 3rd week in a row. Gulak got his ass handed to him for the 3rd week in a row. She trashed Gulak, she booted him in the face, and she hit him with a ring bell. Embarrassing. Absolutely embarrassing. Every women's match went under 2.5 minutes, making Becky Lynch look like an ignorant retard. SmackDown sucks. Ronda Rousey sucks. Charlotte Flair sucks. Becky Lynch sucks. The WWE product sucks. It sucks. Do better. We got one more show to talk about, then we're going to get on out of here. I'm going to go see that new Morbius movie. I heard it was good. Once again, everyone, thank you for stopping by. Thank you for joining me here on the LFU. You guys have been great. You were rocking and rolling all stream. We have 21 likes. Thank you, Danielle. Thank you, Lisa, Dee Dee, Peanuts, Adam Carl, everyone. Let's talk about Rampage. Let's talk about AEW Rampage. This was a very solid edition of AEW Rampage. A lot of good material. A lot of good material here. Swerve Strickland. He took on Darby Allin in an Owen Hart Cup tournament qualifying match. Very nice match between these two individuals. Very good match. Probably the best match of the night. We had some nice technical ability from both men. Swerve then flipped over the apron to the floor. Darby with an over-the-top stunner on the floor. Swerve then took over with a knee strike and a nice punt kick. Coming back from commercial, Swerve with a beautiful brainbuster for a 2. Darby came back with a code red. Beautiful code red for a 2. Swerve then with the house call. He covered Darby, but Darby grabbed the bottom rope. Swerve then with a deadlift suplex off of the apron to the outside. Awesome, awesome, awesome spot right there. Ricky Starks then came off of commentary. He came off of commentary to try and cause a distraction. Sting drove Starks away, and then Darby locked in the Last Supper, which is that cross-legged pin that he does. Darby locked in the Last Supper, and he beat Swerve in a very good match to open the show. And afterwards, we are looking at Swerve and Keith Lee. They're going to finish their business with Ricky Starks and Powerhouse Hobbs sooner rather than later. They're going to finish their business with them, and it should be good. Should be very good. Can't wait to see that. Very good match to kick off the show. And I love what they're doing with the Owen Hart Cup tournament. And now with Samoa Joe and Kyle O'Reilly. Then we got Dax Harwood and Adam Cole. Jeff Hardy versus Bobby Fish. That's a qualifying match next week. I fully expect none other than Jeff Hardy to qualify. And we're going to be getting Jeff Hardy versus Darby Allin. Dream match right there. Excellent. Santana and Ortiz came out to commentary and beat down Chris Jericho. This was actually pretty cool right here. Santana attacked Jericho after the fireball spot while Ortiz was watching like a security guard, making sure no one got to Chris Jericho while Santana was beating the shit out of him. And we got Santana versus Chris Jericho on Dynamite. That's going to be great. That's going to be awesome. It's going to be awesome right there. You know what else was awesome? The baddies. Jade Cargill, Red Velvet, and Kiera Hogan They took on Willow Nightingale, Trish Adora, and Sky Blue. They looked great. This is a great thing. And you know what I did notice? I'm not sure if you guys took note, but I noticed a little more intensity. on the side of Kiera Hogan and Red Velvet. And you can tell that they probably wanted this for a little bit. That right there, this is a great thing. And if this gives Kiera Hogan and Red Velvet a new lease on life, it's going to enhance them. Jade Cargill is already at her peak right now with the TBS Championship. So when she loses that, she can help those two women create some buzz for themselves. Maybe we see one of those two women go after the TBS Championship after we see Jade Cargill inevitably lose it. That should be interesting right there. Maybe we see Jade Cargill go after the Women's Championship. Maybe we see Jade Cargill go after the AEW Women's Championship, Red Velvet go after the TBS Championship, and Kiera Hogan go after the Ring of Honor Women's World Championship. I'm telling you right there, that would be a great, great sight to see. The baddies with all the women's gold. That right there would actually be better than whatever the fuck Toxic Attraction is doing. Toxic Attraction fucking sucks. They're booked like shit. The baddies actually look great. And the intensity was there. The fluidity was there. And you can tell that they're all friends behind the scenes. This is a great thing. Jade looks good. Velvet looks good. Kiera Hogan looks good. This was a very nice showcase with Kiera Hogan hitting a drop kick on, I believe it was Sky Blue. We had Trish Adora catching the Jaded, and Red Velvet hit a spear on Willow Nightingale. Jade Cargill got the pin, 1, 2, 3. This is a great thing. These three women are going to be a great, great addition to the women's division. And those women right there, all these women had a better presentation than anyone in the WWE women's division all year. That's a fact. Choke on that while you're choking on my dick and balls. Colton Gunn versus Keith Lee. Keith Lee won with the Ground Zero. Nice little win for Keith Lee, keeping him in the prime spotlight and making sure that everyone knows Keith Lee is still unbeaten in singles competition. We had Danhausen. Very nice, very evil. I still don't get the character, but he's growing on me. I still do not get the character, but, hey, he's growing on me. He's really growing on me. So Danhausen and Hook had their face-to-face confrontation. Danhausen came out, and he said, I'm going to decimate Hook. And without any further ado, send Hook. So Hook came out for this face-to-face confrontation. The crowd is eating it up. Danhausen said, well, why don't we do this another time? And Hook goes, no. We'll do this right now. Hook is like, no, motherfucker. You ain't pussying out of this. We're doing this shit right now. All of a sudden, Mark Sterling came out to distract them, and Tony Nese attacked both men. I like this. This is great. Tony Nese got some really nice heel heat. Crowd loves Danhausen. Crowd loves Hook. So what do? You put Tony Nese out there, and Tony Nese gets some legit heel heat. Tony Nese in this is a great thing for Tony Nese because now Tony Nese has direction. Tony Nese has some direction. This is going to be a great thing. I can't wait to see Hook versus Tony Nese. That's going to be a great fucking match. Hook and Tony Nese. Guarantee you right there, it is going to be a great fucking match between those two. That's going to be great. And Hook and Danhausen actually kept Tony Nese at bay. So now we got a pairing. We got Hookhausen. The crowd was chanting Hookhausen. Danhausen, he offered the handshake to Hook. Hook said, nah, fuck out of here. I walk alone. And that's a good thing because Hook, he's a loner, and he should be a loner. I would actually have Hook get the FTW championship, but it doesn't look like the FTW championship is going to be anywhere close to being on anyone but Team Taz. So that's that. I'm very, very entertaining. Very entertaining. Should be a great match between Tony Nese and Mr. Hook. And then, of course, we got Hookhausen looming in the shadows. That's going to be great. We had a fun main event with Samoa Joe and Trent Beretta. This was for the Ring of Honor World TV Championship. And I really do love the little promo before every Rampage. I love the promo with Mark Henry between the two individuals before the main event. Really good stuff. I like it. I really do like that. So Samoa Joe, he's a great fucking promo. When Samoa Joe speaks, you fucking listen. You fucking listen when Samoa Joe speaks, that's for sure. So this was a very fun match, and Samoa Joe, he is being booked better than he ever was on the WWE main roster. And it's a wonderful thing to see. It is a wonderful thing to see. Ring of Honor World TV Championship main events the show, just like championships should main event the show. Trent Beretta came in with a sliding knee, a springboard moonsault on Joe. It barely connected, but it was there. Beretta then took over with a very nice drop kick and a big crossbody to the floor. Beretta hit a very nice back body drop on Joe and a tornado DDT for a 2. Joe, with the massive powerbomb, that got a 2. And I love the transitions by Joe. I love the powerbomb transition into a crossface and then into an STF. That right there is one of my favorite moves from Joe. Trent then got to the ropes. Joe with a massive lariat. We had a running knee by Beretta. A very nice Uranagi. The Uranagi is my next favorite move. I love that Uranagi. You know, Samoa, and you know what the best part about it is? I really hope Joe starts doing this. Whenever Joe's in the ring and he does this Uranagi, he always goes, "Sit your silly ass down," whenever he does this Uranagi. That's a great thing. I hope he starts doing that again. I hope he starts going, "Man, sit your ass down," when he does that shit. That right there is great. I want to see that from Joe. I love that Uranagi. So he does the Uranagi, and then he delivers the Coquina Clutch. Coquina Clutch locked in. Beretta passes out. Very fun match. Samoa Joe retains the Ring of Honor World Television Championship in a very fun match. And I can't wait to see what the future holds. I actually think that if they want to, they could very well give the Ring of Honor World Television Championship to what's his name? Jay Lethal. And speaking of which, Jay Lethal then, after him and Beretta shook hands, did Samoa Joe and Beretta. Shivani went to interview Joe. Lethal, Sanjay Dutt, and Satnam Singh came out. Cassidy did his light kicks to Satnam Singh. Satnam Singh's like, what the fuck are you doing? Dutt attacked him. Satnam Singh sent, I believe it was Chuck Taylor, he sent him into the steps. The security tried to hold back Singh. Singh's just looking on there. And here's what I will say about Satnam Singh. I like the way that he's carrying himself. He's carrying himself like, listen, I know I can beat the shit out of all three of you, but I'm not going to do that because, you know what, I don't want to get my hands dirty, but I know I can beat the shit out of all three of you. So I'll give Satnam Singh that. He actually knows how to carry himself. Jay Lethal ended up getting past security, and him and Joe had a brawl, and the officials came out to separate them. I am predicting Jay Lethal is going to enter the Owen Hart Cup tournament. He's going to make it to the semifinals against Joe. We're going to have Joe go to the finals. I predict it's going to be Adam Cole and Samoa Joe in the finals. From the field that we have now, it's going to be Adam Cole and Joe in the finals, and Jay Lethal is going to fuck over Samoa Joe, and Adam Cole is going to win the Owen Hart Cup tournament. Guarantee it. Very solid episode of Rampage. AEW has some great fucking wrestling, and I love to see that. And ladies and gentlemen, that wraps up this edition of the Lightning Flash update. I greatly appreciate every single one of you who decided to tune in to the show. I hope you enjoyed my rants on Becky Lynch, and I hope you enjoyed my rants on Mustafa Ali and the most recent releases. I'm going to put Earl Cole's show in the description, so when you log off, please make sure you go check that one out. Follow me on social media. Check out all the links in the description. Next week is a big week. We got WrestleMania Backlash. It's going to be the Lightning Flash update on Saturday, and we are gonna get in the rundown for WWE WrestleMania Backlash 2022, where my man Adam Carl, for the very first time, is going to come on the DJ Storms channel. I greatly appreciate every single one of you. Shooter, Dee, Danielle, Lisa, DJ Sums, Adam Carl, Earl Cole, everybody that decided to stop by. Thank you all very much. You all make this possible. This was undoubtedly, I didn't think that it would be possible, but this may have been the best show that I've done all year. And it would not be possible without any of you. Till next time, I'm DJ Storms. This has been the Lightning Flash Update. And remember, people, who runs the IWC? Who but DJ motherfucking Storms? I will see you next week.